Hey, it's Tracy again. I am making a pot of chili today, and I thought I would just jump on and show how I make it. It is nothing fancy, but I've made it for, I don't even know, over 20 years probably. And it's just something that I kind of came up with over time and that we seem to like the best. Um, Obviously, there's a lot of different ways to make chili. This is just the way that we do it, or I do it. Um, Honestly, chili is not actually my favorite thing. Like, I can eat it and I will eat it when I make it. But my son, Clayton, he's always loved it. My husband loves it. I have friends and family that always tell me that they love my chili. I don't even know what exactly is different about it, but anyway, so as I've said before in other videos, I just like to make stuff that people like to eat. So I like to feed people. So that's what I do with this. Is I make a pot and it's usually better the next day or two. Honestly, and we can eat on it for a day or two, or you can also freeze it. You could put it in freezer bags or freezer containers and you could freeze it and reheat it. It is really good that way too. I have done that before also. And sometimes I do that since we are empty nesters now. And I usually always make too much food because I don't know how to cook for two people, but you know, that's another story for another day. So just real quick, it's really fast. I have put 2 pounds of ground beef and a large chopped onion in this skillet. I'm gonna turn that on to start cooking. And while that is cooking, which I'll probably put a lid on that in a second, but I don't have a lid out right now, so I'll get one in a minute. I got out my large pot, and I already opened all this stuff up, but I use a large can of tomato juice, and that is, it's 46 ounces of tomato juice. So I'm literally just gonna pour that right in this pot. So while my ground beef and onions are browning, I don't want to make the tomato part of the chili. And I start it cooking while the hamburger and onions are getting done. So I just poured that whole can in there. I always use Brooks chili beans, mild. They come in hot. If you prefer hot, get them. I prefer to get mild because that way people that don't like hot can always add hot to it, and I prefer the mild ones, but I do prefer Brooks. I only use Brooks chili beans, and this is a large can, and it's 40 ounces or 2 pounds, it looks like. So this is a large can of beans. I'm going to put that in there. Which obviously just got all over my arm because chili can be messy to make sometimes. Oh goodness. That's what happens when you videotape, see? I'm gonna grab that. Oh, we'll just roll my sleeve up. And I'll change that in a minute. This is real life, folks. This is real life videotaping. I'm making a mess as I go. Tomato stuff is messy. And that's what I get for trying to videotape it. We're going with it. It's fine. So I have 2 cans. So I have 1 can of light red kidney beans and 1 can of dark red kidney beans. And these are 15.5 ounce cans. And I have drained and rinsed these beans. I was just always taught to do that with kidney beans. I don't know that you have to. It does not say that on the side of the can. So if you don't want to drain and rinse your kidney beans, more power to you. I just have always rinsed and drained them. So that's what I did. I already rinsed and drained these. So I'm just going to dump those in there. And this is the dark red kidney beans here. Obviously I also drained and rinsed those too. I'm going to put those in there. Now I have 3 cans of chili ready diced tomatoes. I told you, this is real life. I'm trying to film and have an open can. You'll laugh at this later, or I will. It's 14.5 ounces each. So there's 3 cans of this that I'm going to put in there. And if you don't have chili ready tomatoes, you can use any tomatoes. Sometimes I just use diced tomatoes because that's what I have in the cabinet. But I'm going to put 3 of these in here. And I'm going to wipe my hand off where I spilled it. Also, I should have mentioned, I forgot to put some salt and pepper in my hamburger and onions. I'll put salt and pepper in there. So I just put salt and pepper in it. And back over on my tomato mixture, I'm going to go on and turn the stove on. I like to turn that on like medium and just let it start cooking slowly because it's going to take just a little bit for the hamburger to get done. I'm going to go ahead and put some dark chili powder in here. Any chili powder that you prefer is fine. I just happen to have this, so that's what I'm using. I just kind of shake some in there, and a lot of times I'll add more at the end when I get finished. So it's quite a bit. I don't know for sure how much, but I'd say at least maybe like a couple tablespoons or something like that. So then I'm just going to give that a stir. And then I'm going to take I'm going to put a little bit of ketchup in it. I'm just going to put a little bit right now. I might add some more when I put the hamburger and onions in, because sometimes I'll add ketchup if I think it needs to be a little bit more sweeter or thinner. I like chili a little bit thick. It's just ever how you want to do it. If it's too thick, you can always add a little water or some broth to it also if you don't like it to be thick. We kind of like ours a little on the thick side. Anyways, you can see, I think you can kind of see I have all that in here, and I'm just going to turn it on. I didn't spill it that time. So I'm going to let my hamburgers and onions cook, and then I'll use my drainer spoon, and I will just put those right over into my pot and let that finish cooking in just a sec. Okay, my hamburger and onions are browned. They are, and my soup part is starting to simmer. So I'm going to turn off my hamburger mixture, which I did end up putting a lid on. I also should mention, you know, usually when you brown hamburger, you make it kind of fine, like especially if it's for tacos or something. But for chili, I like to leave my hamburger a little bit more chunky, not as fine as you would like for tacos. I usually leave some little chunks in it because I think the chili's better that way. So I'm literally going to take my handy dandy colander spoon, and I'm just going to drain my hamburger over here in my skillet. And as I drain it, I'm just going to put it right over here into my chili pot. You could also adjust this recipe and use 1 pound of hamburger and more beans, less beans. Again, you could just make it your own. Everybody does stuff differently. This is just the way that I've always done it. Again, if you try it, let me know. And if you make it different or have suggestions or things that you do that I didn't, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear from you, because I would like to teach somebody, but I'd also like to learn. And I know everybody does things differently. Another thing about this recipe, you could do it in the crock pot. You can brown your onions. You can brown your onions and hamburger. And instead of using your pot, everything that I put in the pot, just go in and put in a large crock pot. And then when your hamburger and onions get browned, you just put it right in the crock pot, and you turn the crock pot on low all day long, or you could turn it on like high for 4 hours. Or I've done that a lot of times, especially when I worked in the office. You can put it in the crock pot and let it cook all day. It's really easy to do that with too. The most time you've got is how long it takes you to brown your hamburger and onions, and then you just dump everything in there. So that's a good alternative, because I like to let it simmer on the stove for a good, I don't know, a couple hours. I just keep coming back and stirring it occasionally to make sure it's not sticking on the bottom. But I'll just turn it down on low after it starts simmering, and I'll turn it down on low and just leave it cooking for a good probably couple hours, at least an hour. But really, after I do this part and it gets hot all the way through, I mean, it's done. You could eat it. I just think the longer that it cooks, the better it tastes. Just like the longer like tomorrow, if we heat it back up again tomorrow or Saturday, it will taste better than today. It's just one of those dishes that tastes better when you cook it. So I'm just putting all my hamburger over here into this. And I'm just going to give it a stir. I don't know if I can pick it up because it's hot. You know, I've already spilled two things since I've been standing here, so you can kind of see it. And that's kind of the consistency that I like it, because as it cooks, it'll get a little bit thicker. And I like it a little bit thicker. When I go to taste it, you know, because I think, in my opinion, the onions can make a difference. And you never know what kind of onion you're going to get. I do try to buy sweet onions or white onions, but it doesn't always matter. So if I taste it and it seems a little bit bitter, sometimes I'll put a little bit of sugar in it, because, you know, sugar and butter makes everything better. So I'll usually put a little bit of sugar in it if I think it needs it, but it doesn't always need it. And I don't really do that until the very end. And also ketchup, more ketchup will make it a little bit sweeter too. So I just kind of fine tune it at the end when it's done simmering for a little bit. I'll taste it and then I'll kind of go from there. I know some people don't like beans in their chili. I suppose you could make it without beans. I never have, really, because we like beans. So I guess you could. I don't know how exactly it would taste without having all, or like the consistency of it would be without the beans, but you definitely could try it that way. We love the beans. Used to, I just used chili beans because I thought I didn't like kidney beans. But as I got older, I started using kidney beans for some odd reason, and we really like the kidney beans, and I like to mix them up and put light and dark, and I like to put them with the chili beans. So there's 3 different kinds of beans, and it just tastes really good that way to me. And then when it gets finished cooking and I go to serve it up, I will usually put a dollop of sour cream, like on the side of, either on the side or right in it on the side of the bowl. And then we'll usually use shredded cheddar cheese. And then we usually use Cheez-It crackers, which we love Cheez-Its, or you can use saltines too. Sometimes I'll use saltines. So those are all good things to put on it. You could also add hot sauce or jalapeno, which my husband eats a raw jalapeno almost every day with his dinner for some reason. He just likes that. So you could do a lot of variations with chili. You guys know that. You can add corn, black beans. You can do a lot of different things. This is just the way that I have kind of fine-tuned it to what we like, and this is the way I've done it for a long time. And other than changing to add kidney beans in addition to the chili beans, I haven't changed this recipe in years. It's been that way for a long time. So I hope you try it. I hope you enjoy it. I'll try to come back in a little bit and maybe show it to you when we put it in the bowl and the sides on. If I don't, though, it's done right now and you can eat it just like it is. And don't forget to let me know if you try it. And thanks for watching. I'm a hot mess today with all my spills, so thanks for bearing with me. Okay, I forgot to say a couple of things. I should have came back on when you go to finish it or taste it, and when you think it's finished. A lot of times I add more chili powder because I just never really know until I taste it if I think it needs more chili powder. And I also sometimes add more salt and pepper to it too. So don't forget just to keep adding your spices and seasonings until it tastes the way that you want it to. Whether you have to add sugar or more ketchup or more salt and pepper or chili powder or whatever else that you would put in your chili. Anyways, I just wanted to let you know that.